Welcome back to the second episode of The People Behind the Brand here. I have an amazing founders, John Paul Mitchell, the founder of Bandero Tequila, and now Bandero, and then Johanna, who's business partner of Bandero Tequila. We're going to talk about, what is the story behind this and what is the vision, and especially when it comes to distributors on why they should really jump on this brand. John and Johanna, thanks for joining me here.
Oh, it's our pleasure. It's interesting because people call me by two names, and you got it immediately. John Paul Mitchell because of my company, and John Paul DeJoria because of my real last name. But it's interesting, you know about both. Very good, sir.
Thank you. And now, how do you prefer me to address you, JP or?
JP. My friends call me JP.
Perfect. So let's start with you, John. What was different in Bandero? Why did you decide to launch a tequila brand again, and what inspired you? Why is it different?
We were working on, with a dear friend of mine, the next generation of tequila before I sold Patron, which was very, very interesting and exciting. We had to look at what would be the next generation. What do they need in the future for tequila? Because as you know, we at Patron introduced ultra premium tequila throughout the United States. Now there's over 200 of them out there, a lot of competition. But it made me do this because I was looking, right? Now, when I sold Patron about 6.5 years ago, they said, JP, you can keep that because you haven't brought it out yet. You're just playing with it. But you have to give it to somebody else. You cannot compete. I had to non-compete for 5 years. So I gave it to my daughters to kind of play with it, and my partner at the time that was working on it. Anyways, my 5-year non-compete, along with my executive staff's 5-year non-compete, was up about 1.5 years ago. And that's when I brought it out. Now, why is it different? What did I bring out different? I thought that the future wanted something that was organic, no additives, and super smooth. And that's what we developed. We had to go to some really old recipes, real old recipes, to get it done this way, but we did. It is not a Patron product. It's not an offshoot of any Patron formula at all. It's totally different. I'm very thankful to Bacardi to let my family hang on to it. Now it's a whole family business, but that's what it is. It is a product that is completely organic, 0 additives. Even the bottle is recycled glass, and the leather that surrounds it, it looks like leather, it feels like leather, it smells like leather, but it's not, it's vegan leather. So we went all the way, because we were looking at the future, which is now what people would really want. And we saw people going more in that direction. Also the smoothness. We wanted to have what we would think would be the smoothest tequila ever out there, where you could still drink it, right? And you feel a warmth at the back of your throat, not a burn, a warmth, but you still taste the agave. Now that's hard to do and make it really that smooth. Well, we pulled it off. And then needless to say, afterwards, we played with, what if we took something this pure and did not put mixto tequila in it, with something like Bandero, and add real coffee to it and some agave? We would ultimately have something else that's right there for you. It comes from the earth, and it's the best and the smoothest there is. And that's how we developed those 2 lands and why we're out with it. We're very, very excited about it. Very, very excited about it.
Amazing. I think I'm going to ask Johanna here as well a little bit, on her background. So
my granddaughter, I'm so proud
yes,
of her.
Amazing. I think very sharp businesswoman, I'm sure. It looks like that, right?
Top center classic card. I can say so much about this lovely lady.
I've got the greatest role models in the world. Truly, I couldn't be more blessed than
amazing.
To work with my own grandfather.
And Joanna, you worked, if I'm not mistaken, you've knocked doors and you came from a wholesale background as well. So why don't you give us your background and why did you jump on in the project?
Of course, it'd be my pleasure. So I actually came from, like you're saying, the wholesale distribution side of the network. So I started out at the base level of merchandising after I graduated from Cornell University. I went to school back east. And Gallo actually called me, and I was interviewing with a couple of different companies, and Gallo had a really great program out here in California. And so I jumped on the opportunity to be with, a really awesome distributor and a really great training program. So I cut my teeth with them out here in Los Angeles. And so I worked as a little bit of a merchandiser and then went into full-time sales. I eventually made the transition from off-premise and independent retail to on-premise, and then started working a little bit with regional and nationals. But I've worked with several different distribution houses, from beer, wine, spirits, craft soda, water, across having, a handful of portfolio items to having over 5,000 SKUs. So when I got the call about Bandero from Grandpa, I was really, really excited because I had tried the Bandero before, and it was amazing to be able to experience a product that immediately I could tell that this was quality, not only in the packaging, but the juice inside just stood on its own. And it's such a great feeling from the sales perspective to say, we can do a side-by-side against everybody, and it just outperforms. It's in a completely separate category. It almost takes on compilations of an aged tequila for a Blanco, which is incredible. Not to mention it has this amazing story, and it's being made in all the right ways. So while we are sustainable and we use all natural, we also are a zero waste operation. So we really work hard to not only take community and sustainability within the bottle, but bring it to the communities at large itself. So we have a lot of give back programs, and we really try and work with the local communities to help prolong tequila and Bandero, because we truly want to be making the best quality tequila that we can for as long as possible. And the only way to do that is to be, respectful of the authenticity and the traditions, but be innovative in our sustainability tactics.
Amazing. What's the logic behind the name and the bottle shape? Like, what was the idea there?
Oh, that's very interesting. Well, one, if you remember when Patron first came out, the bottle was different. People said it didn't fit into the well. Well, it's not supposed to. We wanted to have it up there on the shelf, look differently to get people's attention. Well, with this particular Bandero, we not only won many gold medals here in the last year or two, many gold medals with it, but we even got one for the packaging, the most outstanding packaging, a gold medal for that. Very, very, very proud. So that when you have it sitting there, people see it go like, wow, what is that? Because the package is so unique. So that kind of is some of the thought behind what can we do? And at the same time, we're into saving the planet. So recycled glass, vegan leather around it, and so forth.
It's fantastic. And these awards are fantastic because, when you are able to win these kinds of awards, we're very honored and proud because we believe, and our distiller believes too, that we have some of the best juice out there. But these judges who are blind tasting against so many different kinds of tequila from all over are able to take a look at the Bandero blindly and also agree that it's a gold standard. And for us to be able to do that domestically, internationally, and really in the birthplace of tequila in Guadalajara, Mexico, where the Latin American Awards was judged by over a panel of 50 people who are industry experts on this, is just such a proud moment for us to say that we can not only be a gold medal winner domestically, but internationally and in the birthplace of tequila.
In Mexico. I mean, that's exciting
Amazing.
because there's so many brands out there. Let's say you had a liquor store or you had a nightclub, you had a restaurant, right? And you have all these tequilas. And many times they'll ask, well, why should we get your tequila or a distributor, right? Why yours? Okay, there's so many out here. Buddy, good luck, okay? Everyone's coming with tequila these days. And our answer is quite simple. We can appreciate that. You're right. Yeah, why do you need another one? Okay. And here's why you need another one. Bandero Tequila won this last year the gold medal in Mexico as in this category, the best tequila, the gold medal. That's why, wouldn't you want to give your people and offer them the very best? If someone came in and says, what do you think we should be drinking? Well, how about the number one, the gold medal winner in Mexico tequila? Do you have that? Yes, we do. Bandero just came out.
I think more than that, I mean, it's a no-brainer. Like, you come from the background, you've built the brand, you've proven many times, right? So if I was, if I was just listening, it's completely like I would want to take your brand because I want to get on that journey of growth, right? So my question comes to you in this way, that I have a feeling that eventually you're going to create that consumer pull, which will just take everyone up.
Yeah.
So what is that game plan, where I'm sure that all the people who are stocking your products or distributors eventually will really win from that if they think long term here?
I love it. Yeah, that's a great question, by the way. Already set up, already thought about and planned. Right now, we're in about 7 states, okay? So we're growing our distribution slowly. Some are with independent distributors and a couple with the bigger distributors, right? To see what's going to work best. And even with our own distribution here, for example, in different areas, right? So we're trying different ways in these 7 states. And then what will happen is we will decide and start opening more of the nation. The minute I have the major markets covered in our nation, or a good portion of them, then we go national. Example, I've been on, Fox Business News. I've been on a few others, right? This news stations wanting to know all about it, but not really pushing it in a big way because they don't have enough distribution. However, something just happened recently. We have a company, we even buy the company, that has a license to distribute nationally to anybody, which means that we'd have distributors calling. But if someone called in and wanted to order off, let's say, the internet, but did not have a distributor in their area where we could get it shipped to them. So we're going through that kind of a change right now. As that happens, I could go on almost just about every news station will take me on. The Wall Street Journal, the major papers. We have magazines lined up that want to do articles. And we'll do more podcasts. Now, they may not be as cool as yours. Yours is really cool, by the way, because you grow the industry. You may be the only one, I don't know, but you got a great one, man. And stay alive and grow your business. We're 100% behind you. But that's what our plan is. And we have other products we want to come out with. But we want to establish the tequila first because it is the best in its category. And our cafe because it's the best in its category. Not overload people. And then we have minis also, not just 750s, but little mini little mini ones there that look so cool. The 50 mLs. Right?
I love that you still talk a lot of trade language and you're still like just knocking as if it was the first door, going in the store.
I get the phone calls. It's amazing. It's really great because so many companies, when you work for them, they lose track of the ground force.
We did start national promotion now. Alexis DeJoria is my daughter. She's one of the fastest women in the world. Her top fuel funny car is Bandero all over. So she went last year, the latter part of the year, and now all this year during every National Hot Rod Association race. She's at every one of them. She's unbelievable. She's like the top 10 all the time, I think, but she just done that the first race of the year. And she just is now, after the first race, number 3 in the world after the first race in Florida that we went to. So that's one thing we are doing on a national basis. And we'll roll it out with other things like that nationally, but hit it really hard when we get just a few more distributors out there.
Amazing. So John, I as I told you before that I myself admire you and I've heard some of your talks and I think you are a fan of cold calling. So I want to ask you that question here where, when distributors, sales reps take and start and route to the market and they knock doors and bars and what's your elevator pitch to the distributor's rep? Like, how do you tell to pitch Bandero in bars or liquor stores? What's that elevator pitch?
Another very, very good question. And what we try and tell them, we try and tell the distributor, and then the distributor salesman keep on reminding them, it's twofold. Number one, and this, by the way, is advice to anybody new going in the industry as a distributor, okay? Do not go into the selling business, period. Now you're saying, well, I'm a salesman. No. Go into the reorder business. In other words, you could sell, but you want to get reorders. Everything you say, everything you do is got to be focused on reselling. An example, I could go to a liquor store and club and say, this is the greatest the world tasted. Oh, we love that. We'll carry it, right? But then it sits there until people try it out. Being in the reorder business to teach them, for example, let's say when you're on premise someplace, okay, and you have somebody there and they want to order a tequila, they want to order anything, ask a question. You just simply say this, you know what? How would you like to treat yourself today? We now have Bandero, the gold medal winner in Mexico last year. The gold medal winner. We have it. It's one of the smoothest tequilas ever. It's organic. We don't have additives in it. It's sensational, and it's realistically priced. Or if you only have really inexpensive tequilas, they can say, for $3 more, you could treat yourself to Bandero. And you just look them in the eye and kind of nod your head a little bit, okay? It gives them a reason. The same thing sells through. They can sell to a liquor store. Liquor store puts it somewhere on the shelf. It sits there. But if they take the time to say, hey, let me show you how this will outsell whatever you have, and then show them how to put it on the shelf at eye level, okay, at eye level if possible, and then if possible, which is really difficult, put a bottle by the cash register and remind them, don't just make a sell, remind them 2 weeks later, how you doing? You're not doing good? Are you telling people that you have the #1 gold medal winner of this last year here in Mexico and South America, every place else, for tequilas realistically priced? No, you're not. Because if you did, you would be selling them out the door. In other words, so when you think about it, it's not just making the sale, but the sale through. What do you have to do to sell it through? And we have ways, by the way, to help them sell it through. We have special systems now that are computerized that takes every account on our website, and we have one of those things that you put your phone next to, And it will tell you the closest on-premise or off-premise location that has Bandero. So you know instantly where it's at. Now, this is great for the bars or for the liquor stores because now you got people who want to look for it, and they can look within, I think was it 10 miles, 5 miles of where they are?
10-mile radius. And then they're geolocated to it. And it's amazing because this way we're not only to help the consumer find where they can purchase the Bandero, but on the retail side, we can directly filter traffic to our partners.
Amazing. Let me ask you, you have experienced again, right, in building Patron. So what is a good distributor to you? You know, especially given the context of Bandero right now.
To me, a good distributor is one that you like. You got to like the people you deal with, or why do it? True. You give me the biggest order in the world and give me all the money with the worst person, I won't do business with them. So one, we want to like them, okay? Number two, they have the capability of getting it in, no matter how many tequilas they have. Can they get it in? How are they going to get it in? And let's talk about it a little bit, okay? How are we going to promote this as your number one item, even though you have these others you've got to service? To give us a chance. Give us a chance, like with Patron, when that was launched, for example, okay? It was brand new, but they gave us a chance and went at it. So will this distributor give us a chance? And if so, what do we do together? Here's what we can offer. We have a lot of things to offer a distributor besides our training, right? But what do we do together? When do we come back for the second class? When do we come back with our people in the field with you, training them? In other words, and if it's all agreeable, great. If it's not agreeable and they want to have, for example, a distribution for 5 years, which some of them do, however, nothing is attached to it. If you want to drop them in 5 years, you can't. And they didn't even order. Someone say, no, just give me the distribution. I'll order a little bit, right? But then they tie you up for 5 whole years or 3 years or 2 years. Well, we won't do that. That's for some people. They have a brand that doesn't have the cachet we do. So ours is, we'll do limited times. But if it works out really well with you, hey, you could be with us forever. I like long-term relationships with people. But at the same time, I like them to be productive and build it for me. Help me build my brand. You help me build my brand and do it really, really right. Do it really, really big. Buddy, I will support you in every way you could ever possibly imagine in a very nice way that's reasonable.
Let me ask you a little curveball question here. I mean, we may be at a peak of tequila and mezcal, right? Like the category is just getting saturated. What would be your answer to that sort of objections when a retailer or a bartender says, oh, no more tequila, or, you know, a distributor says that my book is full?
I don't blame you one bit, okay? Heck, I think the same thing. Mine was book. However, wouldn't you like to offer your people? I have all these tequilas, but now we have the gold medal winner from Mexico last year, the smoothest organic. Bingo. That's the reason why. Keep on going back to that. Well, of course, wouldn't that make sense if you had a business? This one's really, it's not priced in the hundreds of dollars, even the retail price around $50. It should be priced, they say, $79.95 should have been our entry price because of its quality. I said, no, I've made it well with Patron. I love everything I do in the industry. Let's make it reasonable so it's within the hands of everybody that can make it, so it's affordable. And that's what we did. And that's what you would have in your nightclub, your liquor store, or your distribution. That is why.
Just on the pickup location, minimum quantity, what kind of markups, if you're allowed to talk here approximately, what's your retail and, you know, wholesale, you know, what kind of margins distributors can expect to make?
I would just say on this, it's the industry norm. Okay, the industry norm. We have special discounts, obviously, if you order several container loads at a time. We do have that. The suggested retail price is $49.95. That is suggested retail price. Got it.
So maybe about $35, $38 to the retail, and then similar.
And of course, if it's somebody that's going to go for a major chain account, they need something extra, we throw in the extra and match them too.
Perfect.
We're set up really good. You know, in some place, obviously, they get a little better discount because they're doing a lot more for us, which is wonderful.
We also go in on these kinds of partnerships. And when we're talking about that kind of distribution, we really look to also build in the resource department. So we provide POS like shelf talkers and neckers that are both English and Spanish. We have display pieces that create a really impactful piece in independent as well as chain accounts. And so providing that additional support as well as in-store demos. We love in-store demos because getting that liquor to lips, really it's amazing the changeover rate that we can achieve when somebody actually tries the Bandero.
Yep.
They love it. They're instantly hooked. The facial expressions we see on people are fantastic. It's very memorable, almost life-altering moment for them. And then they switch over to the Bandero. So we can see that we turn a lot of loyalty towards the Bandero as soon as they try it.
And I'll say one of the last things I'll throw in, because this question's asked to me quite often. JP, you started Bandero, you're the co-founder of all these things. But what do you drink? What do you think is better between, for example, Patron, a silver, okay, or our Blanco, the two Blanco? What do you think's the best? And my answer is quite simple. They're both incredible in their own, but they're different, totally different. Taste Patron, taste Bandero, and you make up your mind. They're both great ones. And by God, if you have a tequila collection, you got to have Patron in there and Bandero both, because, and you'll see the difference why.
Got it. I think personally, I was a wholesaler in New Jersey and Delaware, and if I get a big brand like this, it's a no-brainer, to be honest, because I know that that supplier will grow my business, right? I'm just curious, like, why are you, it's a great thing for small and medium-sized distributors to jump on the brand, right? Sure. So what's your, like, if you can double down on that, like literally, I have a great feeling that they should not miss this. It's a very rare opportunity when a big brand is not knocking the door of Southerns and Glazers and looking for a very strategic small and medium-sized partners.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's my strategy. That's why I mentioned at the very beginning of our interview. That's what we want to see works best. So we've got some of the biggies right now, okay? 2 big ones in 2 different markets. And then we have a couple of smaller ones in some of the other markets, right? And we're trying our own here in California right now to see which one works the best. Because it's too often, I remember in my Paul Mitchell days, there was maybe a hairdresser that saved her money and husband. And my first distributors, with some of them, were in their garage. And they went out knocking on doors. Well, later they became multi-millionaires because of the Paul Mitchell brand. And at the same time, we took on some very big ones. And what they did was they did an incredible job. And then eventually, maybe 10, 15 years later, sold their distribution with ROK, of course, to a giant distributor, made multi-millions for themselves. And then the other distributor carried on what we requested of the first distributor. So it all worked well. Everybody made out. So we're looking now where our best source is.
Cool. So I'm going to ask a couple of business questions, if you don't mind, just a couple.
Go for it.
Where do you, I'm sure you've been asked this 100 times, but personally, I want to know, where do you get this energy from at this, like after doing so much again and again, and this doing the small things again, valuing this minimum things,
That's a great question. It's because I love what I do. I love who I do it with and who I do it for. And it's an exciting industry, and I will never retire. And I'm located mainly in Austin, Texas, where I live. And from there, I can almost go anywhere within 3 hours. But I just love what I'm doing. I love the industry. I'm alive with the industry. I'm a happy guy. And I'm not a normal human being. So there you go.
Great.
That'll be another discussion. Another day.
Super. Any advice you may have in the current state of our industry, right? Like things are slow overall for all, like wine people especially. Well, let's say, just some motivation if we can give them, or some kind of, where do you see things going?
2 things I want to say. Number 1, be ready for a lot of rejection. Because if you're ready for a lot of rejection, it's not going to affect you. You say, oh yeah, JP said be ready for a lot of rejection. We all got rejection. But a lot of people after 3 or 4 times just give up. I'll give you an example. Okay, it's very important for new salespeople, old salespeople, new companies, old companies. When I sold encyclopedias door to door for Collier's Encyclopedia, no leads. I'm talking about knocking door to door, trying to get in the early mid 1960s to try and sell a set of encyclopedias. Anyways, they told me in training, if you knock on 50 doors and they're all politely or not politely closing your face, be just as enthusiastic on door number 51. Well, for me, it was door number 101 or 102, right? But I believe what they said. But I was ready for rejection because somebody told me, be ready for rejection. You're going to get it. Don't let it get you down. That's number 1. Number 2 is, once again, the quality of your product. If your product is that high quality, you're going into the reorder business, not that type of business. And love what you do, who you love it, to do it with. And if you ever find yourself at the end of the day, just, oh my God, I'm just overwhelmed. When you go home, lock yourself or go take a shower first or a bath, whatever you want. Lock yourself in your room and just for 5 or 10 minutes, close your eyes and just meditate. Just try and clear your mind of everything. And it's interesting how things come in your mind. Another thing I want to suggest to everybody out there is pay attention to the vital few. Ignore the trivia many. An example, someone takes on Bandero. They're going to have one hell of a brand on their hands here, okay? I mean, good one. But they have 50, 100 brands sometimes, 2,000 brands, depending who they are. Well, you got to pay some attention to all of them. You want to build something, you want to be happy, pay more attention to Bandero on what you're doing, because long term, that's going to give you the best results and the best returns.
Johanna, so let's do one fun question for you. You being actually pushing the brand, right? Like you are the one who's
She's executive vice
One
president.
team, one dream.
So what like when you have a business call with him, like what kind of challenge are you currently in, and what do you discuss?
Oh, definitely. So it's really great. I'm actually able to go to my grandfather on, many things, not just business, but personal as well. And so it's a really great gift that I'm able to partake in. But when we talk about what we want to do with where we're going to take the company and where we're going to grow the brand and how we're going to support different partners in different states and different markets, it's really great to be able to ping pong off of each other and discuss, what we've seen before in a market, what we see to be the future of a market, and what can we do right now to truly impact that market. And for somebody who has such great experiences in so many fields, that's really such a great pull for us, because it's not just marketing, it's not just sales, it's not just high-level business stats. It's everything from the detail of the marketing on the color that we use for the advertisement to where we choose to put our marketing and what we choose to do with our POS and distribution.
Yeah, she's a big boss. She's a big boss. She's a big boss. So let's say maybe I'm an advisor. I'm an advisor of my granddaughter. I'm so proud. She's a big boss.
I think you got a great team there. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thanks, John.
Peace, love, and happiness, and it still works to you and everyone that's watching your podcast. A lot of peace, love, and happiness to you.
I appreciate it.
For the better. Don't give up, everybody. We're changing for the better. You see, some changes are a bit different that maybe are unusual, but everything's going the right direction. The frequency of your planet is rising. That's why you see days go by faster, years go by. It's time that's reevaluated also right now. This is all part of, maybe call it God's plan, but the frequency is rising. We got better things ahead of us, and it's already starting to happen, and it's wonderful. God bless you all. Peace, love, and happiness.